Hello, today we're in Saint Croix at Reuge, the famous automaton workshop, and we're going to be discovering a brand new creation called the Racing Symphony. We have a special presentation planned with the CEO, Amr AlOtaishan. So let's go take a look. So hello, thank you so much for inviting me to Saint Croix and this fabulous building. Can you tell me about the structure here?
Well, thank you very much for coming, first of all. It's a pleasure to have you all here. So this building is a new building in the shape of a music box. I don't know if you've noticed it outside.
Yes, yeah.
So it was built in 2016 here in Saint Croix, which was the birthplace of the first factory of music boxes. So music boxes were more prevalent, around the world in the early 1900s, okay. Late 1800s, and this used to be the center of that industry. So actually 10%, or roughly 10% of Swiss exports came from this village. Wow. Of 4,000 people today. So it's quite a historical place. And we're now recognized by the UNESCO for mechanical art.
Okay, fabulous. Now we have an amazing new creation here. Tell me about it. Where should we start? Where did the idea come from?
Well, we're very proud of this piece. I mean, it's the work of all, the team collectively here. So this is the Racing Symphony, is what we call it, the Racing Symphony. So at Reuge we create musical automatons. We want to capture emotion through sound, through an automation, somehow a mechanical automation. And here we wanted to do something a little bit more modern, inspired by, what you could clearly see as a vehicle. We have a lot of clients who really like cars, and they kept on asking us time and time again that they want something that is inspired by a vehicle. So what we've done is we took the first successful mid-engine vehicle, rear mid-engine vehicle, which was in the 1930s, and we reinterpreted the design of that engine, that vehicle, into what you can see here today, into a modern design. And the reason why we chose a mid-engine vehicle is because it was a big innovation at the time, where the center of gravity was good to an extent where when you do the turns, it was more stable for the car, and it really gave quite an advantage over the other layouts of cars.
Okay, so we can see the engines here at the back.
Yes, I would love it if you can actually
we'll
film.
get in close afterwards, so that everyone can see this. So tell me, what are we seeing in here?
So should we run it? Can I
Yes,
run it?
let's
do it. Let's run it from here. You can see the cylinders here turning with the pins, about 2,000 pins in each cylinder. So we have two cylinders, okay. And they look as if you're looking into an engine. Everything is done in-house. All the craftsmanship here has been done in-house.
Sounds so good. So do you have, is it one movement powering both, or do you have two separate movements?
No, so we have two separate movements here, two 72-note movements. Each cylinder has 3 melodies.
Okay.
So 3 different melodies. So once we were done with the design, so taking you through a little bit the process, so we defined, of course, the inspiration initially, then we went through the design. And then when we were done with the design, we wanted to tie it very much into the industry as we could. So one of our craftsmen actually carved it out with clay, the clay that is used in the automobile industry. Okay. And I hope you can take a look at it downstairs when we take a tour. We'll show it to you. And once that was done, it was laser scanned, and then we created the shell from aluminium prior to it getting treated, obviously. And then we used paint also from the automobile industry, someone local here in Saint Croix.
Oh, that's lovely.
And then we have the base plate and everything else that you can see inside, the cylinder, the comb. You can see here the speed regulator. You can see the functioning button here. So everything here, while we go through the process, the factory, you'll take a look at how everything has been created.
Wonderful. So should we go take a look?
Let's do it.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I think we have the ground floor, which is the conventional mechanical department. Things you see here, you could find elsewhere in Switzerland. They're quite known for the CNC machines, for the stamping machines, polishing, etc. And then in the first floor is where the magic happens.
Okay.
So that's where we have our savoir-faire, you know, our specific know-how. We have people who've been with us for more than 40 years in the job, which we're immensely privileged to have. And I'll show you around. Let's
Okay,
go.
wonderful. Let's go.
We start off with a raw material such as this one. So this is brass.
Oh, look at that.
And then we carve out the type of base plate that we want, the type of component that we need, and we have the different treatments. So we finish it off, we finish carving it to what we want, then we do the polishing, the washing, the treatment, etc.
So just like a watch, really.
Yes,
Just bigger.
very similar. This is the stamping area. So we have all these stamping molds.
Okay, sorry.
And in this department, we have all these smaller components that go into the product. So all these small components, from the spring housing
Okay.
to the speed regulator. So this is where the component comes for the speed regulator. You have many different operations for every component. We have these stamping molds that we had historically, and some of the newer ones as we develop newer pieces.
Okay.
So this is all, you know, for the standard higher number component pieces. We use the stamping area.
Okay, so how old is the oldest one here?
The oldest one, I'm not too sure, to be honest. A good question. Probably 1930s.
Okay. Wow, it's great to see them all like that.
Because you can see also the different generation of stamping machines. So this is quite an old stamping machine, and then, you know, a little bit newer, and then the most advanced ones that we have over there. So the cylinder that we have this brass tube that we drill holes in accordance to the melody that our composer defines. So we give a piece of music, and the composer defines where every pin has to go. So we drill it, and then we pin them with stainless steel pins that you're going to see throughout the process. And then we treat them, and we put a cement inside. So the cement is actually a Reuge cement that will show you how it's done. It's quite specific to us. And then we plug them in, and we're good to go for these cylinders.
How many teeth can there be on one of these cylinders?
So on the pins, we can have we can have up to 5,000 pins.
Wow.
In terms of how many teeth, we have about 144.
Okay. Wow, that's
that's one of the larger ones that we have. And then here you can see we have the comb itself, and the comb is quite complex because, again, we have the piece that has been arranged by the composer, where every corresponding every corresponding teeth has a note. So every note comes into every teeth, and depending on which one we want to choose. So it starts off with a standard sheet, which is an alloy steel that we have. We cut it using a circular saw that you'll see in our manufacturer. Okay. Then we have to heat it in different heat temperatures to change the composition, the mechanical composition. Then we do a soldering on it, which is a piece of lead that gets added onto the comb itself to add depth to the sound.
Okay.
And then we tune them individually, and then finally we feather them. We call it feathering, which is actually a damper underneath every tube.
Wow, I had no idea it was so complex.
It's quite complex, yeah. It's an optimization headache, I can tell you that. So the individual teeth, every individual teeth needs to have a corresponding frequency towards the note that we're trying to attain. Okay. That's what we have to achieve.
So who does this? Is it a musician or is it a technician?
Someone we call him a mechanical musician.
Okay.
So he has a speciality on both, and he's someone we're going to meet now.
Ah, wonderful.
So here we have a comb, and as we mentioned, every teeth in the comb has to have a certain note. And what he does, and you can see the weights that were placed to give more depth in the sound. And what he has to do is he looks at the frequency here, and he looks at the corresponding note. So here's Ré. And then he would try to bring it as close as possible towards the frequency. So I don't think I've ever met anyone with the patience of Firoza here.
Oh, wow.
So what Firoza does is she puts in dampers, which historically were feathers, feathers underneath every teeth in the comb. And the reason is if we want to play that note twice, instead of, while it's vibrating, while the note is vibrating, if we play it again, we're going to hear a squeaky sound that once it hits.
Okay.
So what we need to do is we need to slow it down before it plays it again to have a sweeter sound. So what we do is we put underneath it a synthetic now feather, what we used to use synthetic feather, where it comes down and it touches that first to slow down the vibration, and then it plays that note again.
Nice.
So this is what she does here. She glues it underneath every teeth of the comb. And this is where we do the testing, the different testing. So you can come here and you can see Stefan. He is multi-talented. He does a lot of things related to the prototyping, to the design on AutoCAD. He's the one who carved the clay here, as you can see it. And look at the level of precision, the symmetry. You need to get in the exact height. Yeah. He's gotten it all covered. So right. And then finally, we have the assembly. So here's where we bring things together. So all the components that we manufacture downstairs in the mechanical department, or all the components we manufactured on this floor, the cylinders, the combs, we bring them all together here. It takes about 1 year to train someone to bring the cylinder and the comb in the right distance to one another, in accordance to the sound quality that we look for. Wow. So it's quite complex to train them. At Reuge, we focused very much, we have a high standard of quality. So in everything we do, we try to make sure that every component we produce has been highly finished, done to the highest standard. Every piece that we purchase, every partner we work with, we have very high standard that we need to make sure we keep.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.